The rumors are true, folks. My hair looks bad today. So we're doing a little hat moment. This, by the way, this little icon, this legend, the icon, the moment, that's Sexy Legs, my favorite University of Kansas Jayhawk. Everybody else have a favorite, like, mascot variation from your college, or is it just me? Hello, welcome back, gang. My name is B. Hawthorne. I'm a writer, and this week we're doing something a little fun. My good friend DL Pitchford, who is beta reading The Rope Salesman right now, or alpha reading or whatever, tagged me in a little writer's mid-year freakout tag. I was thinking about doing the, like, bookish mid-year freakout tag, but I've only read, I think I've read, like, 20 books so far this year, like 20 or 21. And it's been, like, a pretty mid, except for, like, a few standouts, but I feel like I've had overall a pretty mid-reading year so far. So I might do something at the end of the year if that's of interest to y'all, where I sort of go through and I give you my top 5 from this year. But I wanted to do the mid-year freakout tag, but I was like, I don't really have enough books to really justify it. So this is beautiful and wonderful. This is a writer's version of the mid-year freakout tag. If you're not familiar with, like, the mid-year freakout tag, it's sort of just like a mid-year check-in on your reading, or in this case, your writing. And let's just jump into it, shall we? I have notes this time, actually. This time I get to use my phone for notes rather than acting as a microphone, because I decided to use my fun, fancy podcast mic for microphoning. Also, I feel like I never mentioned it, but I do have a podcast. It's called Wheels Up. It's a Criminal Minds podcast. If you want to hear two people dive way too deeply into a pretty mid crime procedural show, Wheels Up, the podcast for you. Link is in the description. Also, so sorry if you can hear the AC. It's simply too hot. End of sentence. Did you set any writing goals at the beginning of the year? What were they? Are you on track? So we remember my early sort of quarterly quest video, and I did set writing goals for this year. I sort of have been doing them and then also not doing them in equal measure. My goal for the first half of the year basically has been, first quarter I wanted to finish Rope Salesman Draft 1, and then second quarter I wanted to send Rope Salesman to beta readers and receive feedback, and I have done both of those things. So Rope Salesman has sort of been my life for the first quarter. I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do next while I'm still waiting on the last beta reader for feedback. And then I think sort of the back half of the year is going to be sorting through feedback and writing a really good, clean third draft. My other goal was to do something with The Stolen Spark, which is that novel that I wrote last year in November, and then sort of had multiple crash outs about because I did not think it was very good. And then I opened it up again in, like, May of this year, and then had another crash out because it still wasn't very good. So she's in timeout a little bit. I actually think I've kind of figured out what was bothering me about this one. I think the first chapter of A Stolen Spark it didn't have enough conflict in it. I feel like just in general the book lacked a sort of, like, it had interpersonal conflicts, but it didn't have that, like, level of societal conflict that it needed in order to be really compelling. So it had, like, yeah, there was a murder. What then? So last week I just watched a lot of YouTube videos about, like, first chapters and how to write a first chapter, and I think I figured out what I can do to make the first chapter of Stolen Spark more compelling, which will then make the rest of it also more compelling as well. So I think I might have figured out what was bothering me there. Last video that I recorded like 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point, yikes. My last video that I recorded a while ago, I said that I still needed to, I needed to put it on the back burner, and I did. I needed to put that on the back of the stove to simmer for a while. I think it's almost done simmering, but not quite. It's not quite there yet. there's still something about it that I need to do. My other goal from, like, quarter 1 of this year was to develop 3 to 5 short stories, and I think I have 2 that are developed and 1 that's, like, fully written out. So I'm sort of getting there. I think maybe I just need to read more short stories. The nature of setting smaller little like quarterly quests is that I can adjust something if I feel like I'm spiraling off track of it. So like if I felt like I was truly not about to reach a goal or I needed more time to do something, I can just give myself more time to do it. Am I on track? Sure. I set my goals 3 months in advance. I'm barely looking down the pipeline beyond that, besties. Trust and believe. What are you working on right now and how much writing have you done this year? So the Rope Salesman is in progress. Second draft is out to alpha readers. I have feedback from 2 of them. I'm waiting on a third. And then I'm going to compile everything and we're going to start working through a revision plan for draft 3. The Stolen Spark, like I said, chapter 1 is like slow going, but I think I almost have it. I think I almost have it cracked, I think is the thing. I think it's almost there. I just need to give some more conflict to some more people on some more levels. Everybody needs to be having the worst time of their life in this draft. And if they're not, then I'm not doing it right. And then last video I talked about this sort of secret third project, this like YouTuber murder mystery that I have. That's sort of still in the swirly development stages of the clue. It's sort of in the clue stage of development, which is to say I don't know who did the murder in what room with what, but it's there somewhere. There's something in there. I continue to just sort of like, I've been writing little like vignettes and I've sort of been writing it in a very conversational, almost like fanfic-y style, where I'm just not focusing too hard about it, and I'm just kind of writing out what I think happens, and then later I'll go through and rewrite them in a more coherent style. And yeah, that's where that one's at. Also, it asks how much writing have I done this year, and so I made a TrackBear goal to count how much writing I've done this year. In TrackBear, I don't track just pure words. I also have some projects where, like, if I'm doing admin work for my writing group and I'm updating web copy or I'm writing emails for that, I'm also sort of taking that and plopping some of that into TrackBear as well. And then I also have one in there for my secret little fanfic projects. So all of those get mashed into one big pot when I look at my yearly goals. And according to TrackBear, I have written 77,104 words this year. Which is crazy. Last year I wrote about 120,000 words and half of that was in November. So I already am on track to do a lot more than that if I end up writing like a third draft of The Rope Salesman, or if I end up writing a draft of The Stolen Spark or my little YouTuber murder mystery, and then whatever else I end up doing in November. Have you reached any milestones so far this year? It can be word count, stages in a project, or other events in the life of a writer. I mean, like, obviously, like, this is the first. Rope Salesman is the first thing I have sent out to alpha readers seriously in years. Like, I had some other things in college that I got ready for publication and ultimately decided not to do, some short stories, some stuff like that. Rope Salesman is the first thing that I have ever seriously done, so to get that out to people to receive feedback on it is crazy. One of my beta readers and I talked in real life about it, so I have The Rope Salesman. The Rope Salesman, like, exists on paper. Like, I printed out all of their comments alongside all of the words. So, like, this whole stack of, like, this whole big-ass binder, this whole thick-ass binder is The Rope Salesman. He's kind of tiny because the pages had to get a little fucked up, but, like, this is all my guy. That's crazy. That's nuts. Like, that, just being able to hold that in my hands is very, like, it's a very cool accomplishment. So, yeah. What does your writing routine look like right now if you have one? Has it changed from the beginning of the year? And are you happy with it? What writing routine? I try and write a little bit every day, but that means that I don't set myself into, like, I have to write something on this project every day. we're not on a hot streak right now, but we will be. I'm getting back to it. But other than that, I don't really have like a writing routine. I mostly do it like what each project needs. Like for a month and a half there, I was like, I want to finish Rope Salesman. So I was writing on Rope Salesman a lot every weekend. I like dedicated it to Rope Salesman time. But right now I'm not feeling like an urgent rush to write anything. So I'm just kind of like taking it easy, writing 200 words a day. And those, in the long run, that ends up being quite a bit in the long run. So have you encountered any good resources about writing? This one's actually, funnily, it's a funny timing for this because I have just started Steve Almond's, his last name's Almond, like the nut? Bro. This is Steve Almond's book, Truth is the Arrow, Mercy is the Bow. This is actually, I've been enjoying this as like a book on craft so far. My local library is doing a writer's conference this fall based on this book with Steve Almond in attendance. So I'm reading it now. You can see I've started to put in some tabs. I'm really not that far into it. I'm like 10% of the way into it. I really like how he talks about how his ideas have sort of like grown and like he almost like you kind of necessarily need to undercut yourself as a writer a little bit. Like you need to give yourself a prompt and then be like, and what would make this worse? What would make this situation? What would make it worse? And you kind of need to try and like keep taking yourself out at the knees to get something really interesting. And I think he does a good job of talking about that with his example of a poker player and a unethical therapist, which is very fun. If you write with a playlist, what are your current go-to songs to get into writing mode? I actually don't usually write with a playlist, mostly because a lot of my writing takes place in like coffee shops and with like my writing group. So I usually don't listen to anything because the coffee shop already has, music playing or somebody else is like, we're like chatting while we're writing. If you want my current Spotify playlist for summer 2025, I'll put that down in the description. I love to do a little Spotify playlist. But like I don't have like a specific like this is my Rope Salesman playlist. I don't really like have that. Like sometimes I'll throw on some noir music or like the soundtrack to LA Noire, but that's kind of all. That's kind of all I got, honestly. So I don't really write with a playlist. It's a little weird. Everybody pause. Big Brother 27 is back. Sorry, Big Brother is on currently, and that is my one reality TV show sort of like fix. So if anybody wants to talk Big Brother 27, my DMs are open on Discord, and the comment section is open. I love Big Brother. Sorry, I love seeing psychological warfare just in like a really dorky themed Airbnb, basically. Like Big Brother's so fun. Big Brother's so deeply unserious. I love this show. Toughest moment related to your writing so far this year. When I opened up the Stolen Spark and I was like, I redid this entire thing and I think it's still bad. And I had a week-long crash out about it. That was, I think, maybe my hardest moment where I was just sort of like coming up on this wall of like, hey, this thing wasn't good even the second or third time around. So what about try number 4 is crazy. Like it's just, Something important you've learned or advice for your future self. Girl, don't plot. Girl, do 7 point. Don't plot. It's all action, reaction, cause, effect, chain. Don't worry about plotting. The thing is that like, I feel like for a while there, AuthorTube was really stuck on Save the Cat. Maybe still is. Too much a little bit. But you didn't hear it from me. But like, plotting can look like so many other things. And I think by over-prescribing to one set of, to one method of plotting really leads to struggles down the line. Because humans have been telling stories in a billion different ways for fucking thousands and thousands of years. Maybe Save the Cat ain't for you. maybe even just like the normal like arc of conflict isn't for your story. Let the story come to you, and if you need to give yourself some scaffolding, give yourself the absolute minimal amount of scaffolding to sort of like have some fun with that first draft. What would you like to accomplish with your writing during the second half of the year? Now, this is an interesting question because it is kind of time for my Q3 goals, I think, right? Because it's July, August, September, right? Yeah, I know what day of the week it is. I know how time works. Don't you worry about me. So I guess I do need to make some Q3 goals. I think my Q3 goal, I personally just know this in my heart. I have, my August is very busy for like my real job. So we're gonna disappear a little bit in August again. I'm just super busy. I'm also running a workshop during then. So my goal for Q3, survive. My goals will actually be, number one, complete this beta rating project for a friend, because it's a big project, it's a big beefy boy. And then I need to organize and get my shit together for a revision plan for the rope salesman. I've actually been working on like organizational things. I've been slowly developing a new system for myself in Obsidian. I know a lot of authors swear by it for the world building aspect of it and the way that you can do all that, and I don't disagree. It's also very good for that. I've been playing with that as well, but like the ability to just like make a note every day and just like dump everything you need to do for the day into that note and then organize it and mark it off as you get shit done, that has been very good for me. So I've been sort of like, I think my third goal then is probably going to be something like organizational. Like I really do want to try and figure out an organization process that works for me and just sort of like figure out what that is and make something that I can do sustainably. So that's it. Thank you, Dana, for tagging me into the Writer's Midyear Freakout tag. So if you are a friend of mine and you want to do the Midyear Freakout tag, hey man, now's your chance. Hey, have you written today? I really hate to be the guy to say you should probably at least write something a little bit today, but I think you might need to write something a little bit today. Not even need, just like you'll feel better when you do. Because if you don't write for a while, it sort of builds up inside you like a clogged pipe, and then you need to sort of like get all the bad stuff out before you can start doing it good again. So maybe just try not to let that pipe clog. That's a really gross analogy, but it does work, unfortunately.